Okay, Andrea, send it over your way. Perfect. Yeah, let's go into the Novartis Pharma AG. Perfect. And so let's just go through those same exact steps. We're going to go really quickly, and you'll notice that the experience is a little bit different because there's actually some data in there and some lists that we can access. Um, but this is a good exercise for you to open this up and click on create new pattern. Yeah, so just where you were hovering on the campaigns report, not that guy. Anywhere in that row but that icon will expand the campaigns and show you the list. There, yeah, so here are your patterns. So let's create a custom pattern. Okay, and just like before, you can add custom elements individually, or you can do it this other way. If you go over to the existing codes there and you scroll down to something that looks like our structure, keep going down. I saw something. There it is. There's a good one. Pick one of those guys. Any one of them. All right. So this is another way to create codes, is that you can actually grab the right-hand handle at the very right side, that green handle on the far right side of the code that appeared, drag that over to the left of the first colon. Perfect. There? Yep. And then call that a variable. And now drag over to get the colon and the BA and the colon and call that a constant. And then drag over just so you're just getting the date part.
With the colon, right?
No, not with the colon.
Oh.
Actually, do it with the colon and I can show you a little trick. There we go. Call that the date. And so label, you can call it creation date. And the format is going to be YYYYMMDD colon. And submit that. And then now we don't need the colon, we can just end with an auto number. So does that make sense? So you can have other characters in there, like some people like to have hyphens and other things like separating the month and the year and so on. So so we support any other characters around that structure. Okay, so let's go back to the very first. So click in the very first variable cell and let's call this the brand ID. Okay, and just because I want to follow my own instructions, let's click inside the structure, the constant, the next one, and change the BA to a TX. And let's right-click the creation date, and let's set it as today. And go ahead and close that. And let's go down a little bit and turn off the auto population. Okay, now you remember when Pan went through this situation, all of those classifications were turned on, and there was no value for tactic. But if you notice now, under tactic, the text link value is already preset. So let's lock that in. And site property is set to multiple. Let's see what that multiple is under. If you click on the edit button on the site property row. Okay, see how there's a couple of values here that automatically came in. If we might have, I don't know if we have a list for that one. Let's leave that one alone. So go down, scroll down a little bit, and click on cancel. I'm just looking at my instructions here. Let's go to topic. Oh no, to brand indication. let's see, brand indication is at the very bottom. Yep,
Yeah.
there it is. Edit that and choose list override. And now we have to select the right list. I made one called Brands Oncology. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you scroll down, yep, you've got it there. Now scroll down a little bit, and it's going to give you the whole long list. And if you say at the very end to save it, now not only did it give us that list, but it also created a dependency option because this is a list that has multiple columns. So let's create a dependency here. So you see that button right there at the bottom that says dependent?
Yeah.
Click on that button. And we want to assign the brand ID to column 1, just like, wait, but that says Novartis Pharma. Okay, click on that drop down. Column, that looks interesting to me. What happens if you click,
Uh-oh.
no, you're fine, try that again. Why would it be, oh yeah, we need to change it to column 3. I wasn't looking closely. Okay, yeah, so that's the stuff, those are the identifiers we want to pull in. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect. So let's scroll back up a bit, and you notice that you can add other ones. Oh, and this is right. We want to do the size. Now you're going to notice this is a little bit tricky. I'm not very thrilled. We're changing how this works because it's going to kind of jump all over the place. You got to try to keep your eye on which one you just changed and whether it was on top or on bottom. Yeah, but let's. I've got over here paid keyword, search engine.
What are the columns mean, Craig?
Okay, so the columns are
the 4 or 5 columns that were 4.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing because it's actually a 5-column table, but these are the 4 adjacent columns just to the right of the value that you selected as the brand indication. So the leftmost value is going to the table or to the brand indication field where we set the list, and then the 4 columns to the right can be assigned to any other fields.
Where did it go?
I know it's so horrible. I can't even stand to look at it. It's so embarrassing. I promise we're going to get that fixed really quickly.
Okay.
Okay, but add. Yeah, you're getting the hang of it. We're almost there. MDID.
MDID.
Nailed it. You've got it. Size, pick your search engine, and that's it. Okay, so go ahead and just let's close it from where we are. I don't want to lose any of our work, so yeah, close that box and then hit confirm in this dialog and save it. You can change the name if you want.
So here, if I would have, what would I call it, like text?
Yes, because this is dedicated for our text links. That's exactly right. All right. Love it. Okay. So wait a moment. It should be pulling up that new table. And so notice the difference between the way this is going to feel now. See the creation day and text link for tactic, those are now locked in. And even brand ID, we can't type something crazy like ENT. We can't just enter what we think might be the right brand ID because that brand ID is really driven by whatever you put in that field at the far right of the table, the brand indication.
Yeah, is it possible to change the order of these fields at all?
It is not yet possible, but that again is something that we're working on right now.
Okay.
Not only that, but most of our users, just to be frank, are going the opposite direction, Matt, of what you've chosen to do here of showing but not populating fields. that a lot of our users don't even want to see the key field that they're creating, or any of the IDs. They don't want to know anything that's going on under the hood. They just want to see the fields that they need to populate.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll shortly be introducing that feature where you as an administrator can also hide even the fields that you want to include.
Okay.
Okay, so again, all those things. So we seem to have locked paid keyword in there. That's going to be a problem for us, right? Oh, no, it is locked because it's supposed to be blank. Okay, so you picked that affinitory ABC and the brand indication, and if you scroll to the far left, you can see how the brand ID has been populated.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so far so good. These are site property and other things like that. You can go through that, and if the drop downs that you're seeing aren't enough for you, you can either leave those as open fields, whereas if somebody types in a new value and submits it, then the next person who comes and uses this text link pattern, they're going to get that new value plus the other ones that were in the list. So it's kind of a learning tool. As people use it more and more, they're going to see the most common values that other people are using and be steered towards them. But if they go in a new direction, they're now in the steering position. Okay. Any questions? I know we've covered a lot of stuff, and this is a kind of an overwhelming exercise. I should say, notice that in that drop-down list of brand indications, you're only seeing 7 or 8 values there. But if you start typing in one of those fields, if you start typing something that doesn't start with an A, yep, do you see what's going on here? Is that showing you the list is actually much longer there? And so if they know a little bit of what the brand name should look like, they can see the value as they're typing it in. Okay, so go ahead and like I like what you're doing there. I also like the fact that if you just leave it like that, partially enter it and just click somewhere else in the table. Oh, it populated it. What happens if you type your name in that field? And then go to another field? Okay, do you see how that highlights? That means that if I were trying to submit this would be one of the things that you would have to correct before moving forward. So that's the difference between an open list and a locked list.
Okay.
Okay, so this is pretty much the exercise that I outlined in the process of creating all these patterns. Do you have any questions for me, or do you feel like that's enough to get you moving forward?
Well, again, are you saying the order, like even if we don't hide these columns, are you saying the order is just dependent on how they come out of Adobe?
Yes, right now the order is the order of your variable components. Notice if you scroll to the far left, the first thing was the brand ID. That's not a classification in Adobe.
Right.
You know, those are fields that we put in there. So the custom fields of our own, they go first, and then we have the Adobe sequence of in the order that it comes in Adobe. The good news is that we're working to allow that to be modified, because in fact Adobe doesn't care. They can get their spreadsheet in any order. The only thing that matters is the key values at the left, and they have in their table a match for each column header, but it doesn't need to be in the same order, so we're not under any obligation. It's just that we hadn't thought to do it any other way until recently. So the idea of reordering something that's in our roadmap, it's going to be available to you in the next month or two.
Oh, well. All right, so maybe I was going to ask if there's a way to change it from the Adobe side, if you know there's a way.
Oh, so sad to tell you that Adobe doesn't allow you to reorder its classifications. The only way to do it is to either edit the names of your classifications and kind of like do a little cups game to not have the same name in there twice at a time. But the danger of doing that is that you don't carry over all the values that were for tactic. You would now tactic would be showing you all the values that you used to be pushing into site property. So the only real way to reorder things in Adobe is to just destroy it, to delete the classifications and reclassify everything. In which case, you better have downloaded a copy of all your classifications so you can re-upload it at the end, or else all those classification data points would be lost.
Okay. As far as like what do you think the next step should be as far as getting this up and running, really?
Okay, so I think the next steps are for your team to practice doing what we did here with TextLink and not just what we've done so far, but there might be other lists that you want to have for sections and creatives and site property. There might be constraints that you want your text users to see that are different from your banner ad users. And if that's the case, then you're all free to go in there as administrators and start fiddling with the different list tools. So let's actually go there next. Oh, actually, I should say we don't have time to do training on lists right now. But if you click on admin right now, if you would do that, you'll see you'll see in here a list option. This is where you add users, but you can also share your patterns, create groups of users, which we'll cover later. But if you go to the lists tab, the fourth tab in the lists, yeah. This is where I set up those things that you were viewing that we use so far. But if you want to set some up for site property or creative or sizes and things like that, it just depends on whether you want these to be free fields. The great things about lists is that you can use them over and over. Like you can have the same references to the brand's oncology in you can have that same list applied to to your text, to your banner, to all your different paid search and channel types. And if you needed to say, well, we're adding a new value in here, you actually can do that, make those changes, add those values, and it will automatically propagate into all the different patterns that are referencing this list. So that's the value of lists, is you don't have to maintain it on a pattern by pattern basis.
Right.
Okay, so anyway, I think there's some good opportunities for you guys to go in and try out some different list creation and so on. That'll be important for you to know how to do. And the last thing that we didn't touch upon that we'll do next time as well, if you cancel out of this and go back to the main page, which you do by clicking on the logo or your name, perfect, either one of those things takes you back to the main. It gets you out of the admin panel, takes you into here. If you go back to Novartis Pharma AG. Okay. Once you're on this page, that button at the far right, that gear button, this is something that only administrators can click on. And you see how you have some general options there. If you scroll, yeah, you can't see them there. I've got a CSS issue that I'm fixing right now, which is making it spread downward on the page. But this is what I wanted you to look at. Landing page settings is where you can generate links. So right now there wasn't a landing page field in your table, but if you click on that, there will be. And this is where we put on our URL parameter, which is for you, I believe it's CID. Is that right?
No, it's site, S-I-C-E.
Perfect. So yeah, go ahead and type in whatever that. Oh, yeah, that's another funny thing to get used to. Yeah, open that up again in settings. All right. Very good. And And a lot of our users, add a variety of other parameters. Like you see there's that little tiny add new link below where you just typed. If you wanted to have other parameters beyond just the site equals your tracking code, you could create those as well. But this is the last piece I wanted to cover before we wound up the call.
We actually need to add something after the site parameter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, yeah, don't put an equal sign in. Just have the site, and we'll handle the equal sign.
Yeah. And we have anchor links. So we want to make, I guess, how do you handle the anchor links? If a URL has an anchor link in it.
That is a good question. Right now, so I think what you're saying is that if you give me a URL and the URL has an anchor link in it,
yep.
We're actually not handling that in the best way right now. We're putting the question mark after the anchor link, which I think breaks it, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So that's one of our things to fix right now. So if you actually use anchorless links heavily right in your site, I can push that specific fix up in our production schedule and make that go out sooner than later.
Yeah, we do actually. All of our new sites rely heavily on anchor links.
Okay, very good. I'll take that over to development. We'll put that on the top of the list instead of the bottom. And so now correct me if I'm wrong, because this is what I'm telling our developers to do, is to, when they see an anchor link, actually embed the query string parameter section before the hashtag.
Yep.
Yep.
That's it.
That's what we'll do.
And another case is that remember we have a column called MDMID tracking.
Yeah.
So if that column is the value for that column is just yes and no, it's only two values. If people select yes, then we want to add a string to the end of the URL. Can we do that?
Yeah. So you see down below where it says Add New? Click on that Add New button, and this is going to say, well, after we stick that tracking code into your link, we can put in another link and actually have its value change depending on the value that you enter in one of those fields.
Okay, so what do we put in the...
This is where you would put, I think, probably MDMID, right? Is that the parameter?
If the value for that column is yes, then the URL we're gonna add MDMID. It's actually the percent MDMID, so it's a variable.
Got it. What you're describing there isn't actually supported yet, but I want to have another discussion with you, probably at a different time, or maybe over email, Pan, where we can, understand exactly what your needs are. Again, this is something that we're changing right now. The MDID, the changes that you make as far as link generation, they apply to all the patterns across the organization. So we're adding in some functionality right now to make this pattern specific. But even with it being pattern specific, right now the only way for us to do what you were describing would be to have one pattern for people that would be answering yes for MDMID tracking, and versus the people who would say no. Like I would say, text ads with MDID, another pattern for text ads without.
Yeah.
Okay, darn it, I took all the time. This has been a lot of fun. You guys are doing great, Pan, and Andrea. You guys are champions to go through this, and I promise you'll get more familiar. And as you become more familiar, you'll become more appreciative of the really great feature enhancements that we're going to introduce in short order to make it better, more usable.
Hey, Craig, in the short amount of time we have left, why don't we articulate next steps if we can?
Mm-hmm. So I think that we need another training session after you guys. Next steps clearly is to follow the challenge and do some of these. Each of you go through and make sure you're familiar enough that you can create patterns like we did today. become familiar also, we said, with the lists feature, creating and editing lists and applying those within those patterns. I think Han and I should probably have a follow-up conversation about the logic around the inclusion or exclusion of certain parameters in the URL.
Yeah, it includes me and Andrea too, because we have the same issue.
Perfect. Yeah, so maybe then what we should do is just make that a topic that we cover in our next meeting.
Okay. And I will email you the examples of the final URL that we wanna to see.
Perfect.
Depending on the value of that column.
Got it. Okay, and again, Craig is I myself am going to expedite the handling of hashtags in URLs.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Craig, that case that Pam had, like if this variable is populated and included in the URL, I mean, that's almost, I mean, we're gonna, if we can't get that fixed, we're gonna have to, it's gonna suck basically, because I mean, I don't know what the workaround would be. Our agencies have to do, I guess, and then download the file, and then if those cases are in place, manipulate the Excel or something.
I totally hear what you're saying. I want to avoid that if we can. But my question for you is, if you leave the MID field blank, if you leave it blank, it would put in an MDID equals nothing, like a null part of that URL. Are you sure that would break things for you, or would your JavaScript be ignoring that? Is it possible to just ignore it?
Well, I know in one case it would break the, we have another one too. There's MDMID and then there's also Irma source. If Irma source is, we can't have the one called Irma source be blank. It can't, if it doesn't exist, it can't be there at all.
Can't be there at all.
The values don't have to keep.
Okay, so John, that is another feature that I will expedite through our dev process. Which is the
What is that? How do you articulate that?
You call it the conditional inclusion of parameters in the URL. Hey, I want to say you guys are awesome. This is great feedback. We love to understand more and more about different scenarios. So we are extremely flexible we want to extend our product to make sure that it's covering all the different scenarios that are that you need to fill in. We might have a little bit of a little bit of jostling during these initial stages to get it just the way you need it. But you're going to find that we're real responsive to your feedback on what will help the product be better.
Great. Well, it's good to hear that.
Yeah. So I'm going to send out this this call summary. Matt, is it pretty clear about what next steps are for you? I'll get this summary out so it'll be documented. But do you have any questions about it right now?
No, I think we're good now. We need to work on this. We're gonna chat, I think, after this call on our end to just figure out what our next steps are. But we can set something up now, or we can do it via email, whatever works.
Yeah, I think it's easier to just set it up now since we're all talking live.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good. Let's just see here.
Do we want to, our cadence is your cadence. I mean, we can do it a week out, or we can do it earlier, like Monday or Tuesday. What's better for you?
Monday afternoon.
Monday sooner. I mean, I think we need to practice. We should practice grading some of these.
Monday afternoon.
I mean, I'm just saying we probably need time to go, and we should probably try to create all of these patterns. Let's do you know, how about the same time next week, 3 o'clock Eastern? It's 3 o'clock. It was 3 o'clock when we started this an hour ago. So does that work? Same time for you guys?
Yeah. Which day is it? Are you talking Monday?
Thursday the 26th.
Oh, you want to do it a week out on the same time? Got it.
That'll give us more time to practice.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So we have that is open. So I'll put that down for 3 o'clock Eastern on the 26th.
Okay. Great.
And it sounds like this piece that toward the end that we were talking about, the conditional inclusion of the parameters and URL is a pretty important thing. So Craig, if after we talk to the dev team, if we can get an ETA on that, maybe that would be helpful to let Matt know so that they know kind of what to look for on that.
Yeah. So before I do that, actually, I'm going to send over to you, Matt and Pan. I'm going to send you guys a mock of how we anticipate taking it to dev, because dev's just going to build what I tell him to. So I want to make sure that that it covers the scenarios that you're describing.
Okay.
Okay, so just to clarify one thing, I wrote down talk about the logic around the inclusion exclusion parameters. Make that topic next meeting. It sounds like we can delete that item because we're going to now make this a feature add and do a mock-up for it. Is that correct?
No, don't take that off. Just say the action item is on that subject. Craig will send to the Novartis team the mocks of how it will look.
Got it. Okay. Let me just see. Anything else? Expedite the handling of hashtags in the URL. Is that a different thing?
Oh, sorry. What was the one that you just asked me about?
And then I've got an item. I just want to make sure I'm not redundant on these bullets. Expedite the handling of hashtags in the URL.
Yeah. The hashtags and URLs is a totally separate thing, but also it needs to stay on the list.
Okay, got it. Okay, I think I have everything then. Thanks, everybody. Any other final questions right now?
No, guys. I think we're good. Thank you for this.
Yep, absolutely. I'll send out the summary and the invite for next week. And would it be helpful to have the recording of what we did today, or do you think that's kind of optional right now?
No, yeah, that would be helpful. Please send that.
Okay, I'll send that with my call summary.
Sounds great.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye.